As a firefighter, we work a 24-hour shift starting at 7 o'clock in the morning, going until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. During that time, we respond to emergencies, do inspections, train, do our house chores, all sorts of different things, as well as respond to emergencies. Because we're here for 24 hours, we also eat and sleep at the Firehouse. And today, you're going to get a look at some Firehouse cooking as Inside BFD starts right now. One of the first things we do in the morning after we put our gear on the rig is check out our vehicles to make sure that they're ready to go. After that, it's on to the shift meeting where we learn about our activities for the day and decide things like what we're going to eat and what we're going to do. Let's go.
Good morning, everybody. Everybody got their writing assignments for today? Know what's going on?
Yeah.
I'll do a quick review of our stuff. The checklists are going to change. The BC's going to do the checklist on their own cars now. Food for today, everybody have an idea for food?
Yeah.
What you got, Mike?
Some biscuits and gravy, some hash browns,
Okay.
some eggs this morning.
All right.
Who's cooking?
Block party this afternoon. Johnny's gonna cook. I'm gonna do the hash browns and bacon, if that's okay with everybody.
I mean, for food for today?
Me and Chief, 20.
All right. And you got a menu all figured out what we need to get already?
Yeah, I'm gonna go upstairs, see what we have, and see what we need and what we don't need.
You want some shopping right away? Get that out of the way?
Yeah, as soon as possible, get the shopping done. While you guys are off shopping, we'll finish getting the daily chores taken care of.
Now that our shift meeting is over, it's time for us to go start our chores. And one of the things you may have noticed is that we all contributed $10 each to the meals for the day. And that's what we do each and every day. Everyone on the shift puts in $10, and that's what we use to buy the groceries that we use to make our meals. Throughout the week, we usually eat lunch and dinner. So this comes out to about $5 a meal. On weekends, we'll typically do a brunch, breakfast, and then have an afternoon snack or dinner. So that's what we're going to do today. We're heading out to the floor to do our duties, and we'll be right back in just a moment.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover after experiencing a major disaster. Make a plan at ready.gov/business.
All right, so we've made it up into the kitchen, and cooking for 9 firefighters can be a challenge, but today we're going to try to whip out some biscuits and gravy along with some bacon, eggs, hash browns, and other things. Joining me is firefighter Mike Gates, and he's got everything going. I'm going to whip you up a little bit of biscuits and gravy. First thing we want to do, though, if we're doing this, is go ahead and preheat our oven for the biscuits, because otherwise you'll get involved in this and completely forget to bake the biscuits, and that just delays breakfast. Typically, we try to do meals that are a little bit quicker, just because we may get a call and have to leave and set everything and forget it for just a little bit. Always turning everything off when we leave the building, just like you should at home. I'm going to go ahead and get myself a nice little medium to high flame here. We're going to go ahead, and first thing we're going to do is take 2 rolls of your favorite sausage. We're going to go with a hot and a mild here. And what we want to do is just get this nice and mashed up, like so, and brown this up. Now this is going to take you a little bit of time, but it's important to go ahead and get this cooked all the way through, because you don't want anybody to be sick. So it is important to do this. So we're going to go ahead and get this finely mashed up.
Tool there. What do you call that?
We call this the masher. So we're going to go ahead and mash this up and get our temperature a little bit higher here and get this going on in here. Mike, what else are we doing over there while we got this going?
Some potatoes going and some bacon here. We're going to make little Italian potatoes here with some garlic and onions and
sounds delicious.
General back there.
Now, here's what our ingredients, while this just heats up a little bit, are going to consist of today. We got the 2 rolls of our sausage. We're going to use flour. We're going to use pepper, 2 sticks of butter, and some milk. And that's all we're going to go ahead and use today to make our own biscuits and gravy right from scratch. Now, As Mikey will tell you here, one of the advantages to cooking at the Firehouse is if you cook, you don't clean up. Now, that doesn't always happen. We do all try to help out, but that is one of the perks of being the cook. It's kind of the reward for taking the time to go ahead and make the meal and get it done right. What's your technique over there on the bacon, Mike?
Well, the bacon, I put everything in one pan. Put it all in there, all in pieces in one pan. You just start heating it up, then you separate them, and you just let it slowly cook in the bacon grease, and it all comes out even and perfect. A lot of people put strips on the pan, they cook them by strips on. It takes too long, and it's not as efficient.
And that makes for a nice crisp bacon,
Yeah,
right?
well, you can cook it any way you want. You can stop it at any time you want. You can make it soft, crispy, whatever.
One of the things that's important for us is to have crispy bacon. Our battalion chief does not like to have weak bacon, so Mike does a fine job of making that crispy. As you can see, this is still starting to turn brown here. We've got a little bit of ways to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take ourselves a little bit of a commercial break, and we'll be right back. And when we do, we'll get to making some more gravy.
Clean kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
We've just about got our sausage browned up to what we want it to be and chopped up finely. And we're going to go ahead and start making the gravy. Now, this is an important part because right about now your oven should be preheated. It's time to go ahead and put in your biscuits so that you don't forget. So we're going to go ahead and put those in. The particular ones that we're using here are going to go ahead and take about 13 to 15 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and set our clock.
As you're cooking these potatoes, now you always want to taste them. See how it's going, see if you need to add a little more ingredients or not.
How they tasting?
A little more salt and a little more garlic.
All right.
The key to that is make sure you don't use the same spoon twice. If you taste it, you gotta throw it in the sink.
Cleanliness is important when you're cooking. So we got our sausage ready, we got our bacon and our hash browns cooking, and we've got our biscuits in the oven. It's time to go ahead and make the gravy. Now the gravy is not a hard and fast rule. It's not a science. It is more of just a personal preference and taste. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring our heat down to a medium. We're going to leave the sausage grease in the pan, and that is important because that is what's going to help us give this gravy a fine homemade taste. So what I'm going to do is just a little bit of milk for me and a whole lot of milk for the gravy. Now you just kind of fill it up in here about halfway of the pan you're using. It depends a little bit on the number of people that you have that you're cooking for. Like I said, we typically have 9 firefighters in the firehouse, so it's a lot that we have to cook for. So I'm going to just add a little bit more of milk, and we do want to keep that heat high enough to keep the milk warm. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And we'll just stir that up on in there for just a little bit. That's looking really, really good. Our next ingredient is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this flour. And again, no hard and fast rule about it. We're just going to take and sprinkle in a couple spoonfuls of flour here and try to thicken up our gravy just a little bit. About 4 spoonfuls we'll start with, and we'll just stir that on up in here using our masher tool. Kind of a universal tool because now it's kind of like a whisk. You get this nice little whisking motion in here. I'm really fond of this tool. So we'll go ahead and stir in the flour. Now this is an important part also because nobody wants to have clumpy flour in their gravy. So you got to continuously stir this so that it doesn't burn, but also to kind of make sure that your flour gets all put in here. So we're going to go ahead and just start. We're going to end up with a little bit more flour in here, but It's always better to go ahead and do a little bit less flour before you do more, because you can always add more milk if it gets to be too thick. The only problem is you only have the size of your pan, so always go a little bit bigger on your pan so you can go ahead and do this. So we got this in here mixing in pretty good. Couple clumps that'll come out as we're cooking, but you guys, you can see it's still kind of watery. We need a little bit more flour, so we're gonna go put in another 3 teaspoons, or actually big serving spoons. Whole bowl, how about that? How about a little more flour there?
Beautiful.
So we're gonna go ahead and get that on in there. Now, we're getting the taste from the sausage and the actual grease from it. But we also, check this out, real butter. If you're gonna go and make yourself biscuits and gravy, give yourself some butter. I mean, you're already going through the gravy part. So we're gonna go ahead and get ourselves a whole stick of butter right in there, mash it up. That is a man's gravy. Don't keep it out of the pan like that. Just get this on in here, let it heat up. It'll move a little bit better in there. Can we get a little more flour for this, please?
Flour.
Just get this going on in there. That is looking very good once we get some more flour in. The butter will give it a nice buttery taste, but it will also help thicken this up a little bit more too.
John, do you ever use cornstarch to thicken your gravy?
I do not. I use flour, but there are people that do use cornstarch or Wonder flour type stuff, and you're welcome to do that. I don't, but it will thicken the gravy if you do that. So we're gonna go ahead and just keep mixing here. Now, as I'm looking in here and noticing, you can see I've still got about 1 inch in this pan, which means to me we need more milk so that we have enough. So I got the milk added on in there. Then we're gonna go ahead and just keep this gravy stirring. It's important to stir. As you stir, it guarantees that it will not burn to the bottom. You do not want to get this gravy burnt on the bottom. There. That just will not taste good, and your shift will be mad at you if you mess up the gravy. Just kidding. They're great guys. But let's go ahead and just make sure we're really working this gravy over. Get that butter melted in there. That's looking really good. A little bit more flour. Now it's just a matter of adding yourself little bits of flour at a time till you get the right amount. Now, the next part that we have to add in here for flavor is pepper. And with pepper, a little goes a long way. So start out slow with it and bring it up to taste. You can always add more at the table, but knowing the people that you're serving, you kind of have their taste anyway, and I know just about how much pepper we're going to need for this. So we're going to go ahead and shake in some pepper.
Time for the eggs.
Yeah, we can go ahead and start the eggs, time-wise.
How about the muffins?
Muffins are in. Or we got English muffins too. Or no, we're okay. Biscuits are good and in. So now you see we've got a nice little layer of pepper on the top. Get the rest of this flour mixed up in here. Yeah, that's looking good there.
That's fine with me, yeah.
So Firefighter Gregory has added a couple pans to the stove here. What are we going to put in those pans?
We're going to do over easies, and then once the bacon's done, we're going to do the scrambles.
Very nice. So we're going to do a couple over easies and some scrambles. And are we doing the scrambles in the bacon grease?
Yes, sir.
Very nice. And that'll add a nice flavor to it. Now, some days we do eat healthier at the Firehouse. Today, it's breakfast.
Sunday.
It's Sunday, brunch day. We're going to go and have a little bit of a kind of a reward for eating healthier during the week and working out and stuff. This gravy is thickening up really nice. We're going to turn this heat down just a little bit, a little more pepper. Now, we already added 1 stick of butter, but you know what? Let's make this thing taste a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and give it another full stick of butter. again, our focus today is not on health. It is on good tasting biscuits and gravy. It's a gravy, not really meant to be healthy, although you can make healthy variations. We're adding a little bit of butter, a little bit more. What do they say about butter? More is better when it comes to thickening your gravy. Now you can see that oil from the grease that was on the top there. Pepper. A little bit of pepper over there for those eggs is now starting to blend in real nice with this sauce. It's getting really creamy. Add just a little touch more milk and a little more flour, and I think we're going to be really close on this gravy.
You got enough eggs to once over easy?
Can you go ahead and get me a little bit more flour, please?
Yeah, I got some eggs.
So,
Thank you.
keep in mind here, now we got a bunch of guys working on this meal for 9 of us. It's not always that way. Some days, depending on our calls and what we got going on, it may only be one person cooking, or someone, you know, that wasn't even supposed to cook. It just happened to be the crew that's not on a call right now, so they have to take over. Everybody pitches in to help out, to make sure that we do get a chance to eat. Some days it's never on schedule. Sometimes we're eating dinner 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. It just kind of depends on how the day goes, but we make do with it and get it done. So this gravy is looking really, really good. These eggs over here are coming along nice. We got bacon going. All right, so the table's set. We're ready to eat before we get a call. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. When we come back, we're gonna make some salsa and fireman cookies. Until then.
Rosita, did you know there's a right way to sneeze? Let's show them, Elmo. Got it. When you feel like your nose needs to give it at you, this is how you act. This is what you do. Lift your arm up high, bend it toward your face. Sneeze right there in the belly place. Achoo! Achoo! You can do it with ease. Achoo! Achoo! That's the right way to sneeze. Thank you.
To learn more about preventing flu, visit flu.gov.
Welcome back to the Firehouse Kitchen. Joining me right now is aluminum chef Irv Rotter. And right now we are going to go ahead and make 2 special treats from the Firehouse. First one being Firehouse cookies, second one Firehouse salsa. So let's go ahead and get started. What do you say, Irv?
Sounds good.
All right, so we're going to start out by creaming some eggs, sugar, butter, and vanilla. So what we got here is we got 5 eggs, and we're going to go ahead and get ourselves 2 1/4 cups of sugar. Our 4 sticks of butter. Remember we were talking earlier about butter and its health properties. So we're going to go ahead and add those on in there. And we're going to go ahead and, how about we say, a teaspoon of vanilla. Sounds good to me. So we'll go ahead and add that right in there and cream that up for you. Now, one of the things that we're going to say about these Firehouse cookies is they are ginormous and there's no real set cooking time. So what we want to do is start by getting our oven set at 375 degrees so they're ready to go in as soon as we have this batter to go. Luckily, you can freeze this batter too because it makes a huge amount. About 24 cookies in the recipe that we're going to go ahead and use. So as we get this stuff creamed here, Irv's going to go ahead and start on that. History behind these cookies are, you know, they're a great treat for leaving around in the station, but they're also, you know, if you come back for a call in the middle of the night and you're looking for something to munch on or something, this is always a good tasty morsel. So we're going to go ahead and you could probably at home use a mixer, you know, set it to low, cream it. So it's going to take us a few minutes to cream this. Let me run down the ingredients for you real quick while Irv works on this. You're going to need to have 2 1/4 cups of brown sugar, 1 1/8 teaspoons of salt. Add to that 2 1/4 cups of granulated sugar, 4 1/2 cups of oats, 1 pound, 4 sticks full of butter, package of chocolate chips, 4 1/2 cups of flour. Add to that you want to have 2 bags of 1/2 cups of nuts, 2 1/3 teaspoons of baking soda. We got 5 eggs, we got vanilla, and right now we're creaming the eggs, the sugar, the butter, and the vanilla, and that's actually looking pretty good there. Cream it up a little bit more, but it's coming around. Go ahead and show folks at home out there how nice that is. If you don't have the amenities of an electric blender mixer right now, this is what you can go ahead and use for that. For our nuts, we've gone with just your chopped standard mill run nuts.
Looks like walnuts.
They do kind of look like walnuts, but I think there's a couple other different kinds in there. Anyway, we got 2 half bags, took care of what we needed there. So we got that going.
Hands can do incredible things. Now they can even help save a life with hands-only CPR. If you see an adult suddenly collapse, just call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives. Learn more at handsonlycpr.org.
Here, Irv, why don't you try the masher?
I'll give it a go.
Make the noise. All right, well, Irv, see, now that is worth, show our folks at home that. Look at how beautiful that looks right now. Nice and creamy. That's going to make some great cookies. While you're doing this, if you have a partner that's helping you cook these things, you could go ahead and grease your cookie sheets. Now, we pre-greased them for the show, so they're already ready to go. But, you know, that's an important aspect of when you're baking to kind of help make the stuff come right off the pan afterwards. So there's no sense having burnt cookies stick into a pan when we're done here.
Do all this work, you might as well have a good product at the end.
Exactly. How are we looking on the creaming?
Looks pretty good. I think we're there. I think we're ready to go.
All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our cream mixture and we're going to go ahead and add all the dry ingredients except for the oats and mix it well. What do you think? You think we're going to be able to handle it into this bowl here?
We could probably get a bigger bowl.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and take ourselves and get a bigger bowl. One of the things when you're cooking or baking is if you have your stuff all set out ahead of time, makes things go a lot smoother. So we're going to go ahead and we got that, and now we're going to get our dry ingredients. That looks wonderful. Looks almost like a fluffy, like scrambled eggs. It's a little bit kind of the creamy texture going for, a little less lumps. Now this may look disgusting now, but these are good, let me tell you. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add 2 1/4 cups of brown sugar. So we're going to just dump that in there. And what do we say when we dump that in, Irv?
Bam.
Yeah, that works. All right, so we've dumped that on in. Go ahead and mix that on up. We got 1 1/8 teaspoons of salt. So I got 1 teaspoon of salt. And our sous chef, Dan, is going to find our chocolate chips because we haven't found those yet. There's 1. We're going to go ahead and give ourselves an 1/8 here. One 1/8 of salt. And we've got our flour can go on in there. So we got our flour. And this is 4 1/2 cups of flour we're going to go ahead and put on in here. 4 1/2 cups of flour. 2 3/4 cups of baking, 2 1/3 teaspoons of baking soda. So we'll go ahead and get this on out. That was baking soda, and we're going to go with 2 1/3 teaspoons. So here we go. There's 1, 2, and we'll find the 3rd on here. Third. How's that coming?
It's coming.
It's getting there. All right, so here's what we have left. We have our chopped nuts, we have our oats, and we have our chocolate. And we're going to go ahead and get those in there as soon as we get this mixture mixed in real good.
I think I'm going to switch it up and go to a fork.
Go to a fork? All right. Well, I'll just go ahead and mix here. Teamwork in the Firehouse is important, even when you're baking. So we'll go ahead and just mix this up a little bit for aluminum chef Irv. There you go.
Thank you.
You know what? We got to go to a commercial break, Irv, so we're going to go ahead and go right to commercial. And when we come back, we're going to finish up these Firehouse cookies and start making some Firehouse salsa. So stay tuned.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital. I feel like a fish with no water.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks. Here's how to prevent them. Call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor. Because even one attack is one too many.
How are we looking, Irv?
Looks good.
All right, that is excellent. We're going to go ahead now and stir in the oats, the chocolate, and nuts. So the first thing we'll do is just sprinkle in some nuts.
That's 1 cup of nuts.
That's 1 cup of nuts. And you keep stirring here, and I'll mix in. Now, we only need 6 ounces of chocolate, non-name brand, and we got 11 and a half here, so we're not going to put them all in. But we are going to put in all 4.5 cups of oats here. So let me go ahead and get some oats on in there. Add ourselves some more chips. That looks good. Can never have enough chocolate. Some more nuts. And finally, the rest of the oats, and Irv's going to go ahead and mix that up. And as soon as we get that mixed up, we're going to go ahead and start baking. Now, I told you that there is no set cook time. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to use an ice cream scoop, put about 4, maybe 5 on the pan here, and go ahead and put it in 375 until they're flattened and golden brown. So you kind of have to watch it a little bit. You can freeze the cookie dough, so whatever you don't use, save for a tasty treat later. And
next shift.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll just mix it up a little bit more. Because the oats can show on the outside. We're not hiding the oats, or the fact that there's oats in here. Your kids will love these because they're kind of healthy with the oats, but not so healthy with the rest of the stuff. So you should really like these right here. How are we looking? You think?
Looking good. I think we can start scooping it.
All right, let's go ahead and we'll scoop a couple of these on out, and we'll get some of these going here. And then, in a minute, we'll pull out some. Look at that. You get this nice little lump like that. Nice big, like you're getting yourself a good ice cream scoop. Not an Irv size ice cream. This is a regular size ice cream scoop. Otherwise, you got to cook the cookie a little bit longer. Go ahead and get that. If for some reason, they fall apart, you can go ahead and just kind of mix them together. Remember, you're always washing your hands and stuff before you're cooking anyway, so this is still clean. And we'll just go ahead and, these are ginormous. Get them on in there. Clump it together. Take a look at that. Don't those look delicious? They'll look even better when they're actually cooked. So we'll go ahead and start with a couple of those. Get a couple of these trays ready. And, it really wasn't that bad trying to do it manually. It was a little bit more work than, we usually do when we have the mixer. But, we're just showing you that if you had to resort to just basic tools in the kitchen, you could go ahead and do this as long as you have the ingredients and an oven. So we'll go ahead and scoop those. And when we come back from commercial, we're going to go ahead and start on some Firehouse salsa. And let me tell you, folks, this is truly amazing. The recipe for these Firehouse cookies, cityofbatavia.net, click on Fire Department, recipe will be there, the link to it. You can go ahead and you can try these at home. And Irv, I can't wait to taste these.
Yeah, they're looking really good. I think I could eat them just like this.
We may just have to when we get down to the end of that bowl. I bet it was good. Would be good frozen too. So we'll be back in just a few, making that salsa, and I'm excited. That salsa sounds like it's going to be really, really good.
Yeah.
So we'll be back.
RBIs and 36 homers. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it deep back into the stands.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
All right, Irv, are we ready to make some tasty salsa?
We sure are.
All right, well, before we do that, let's take a look at these Firehouse cookies and show you how they turned out. Don't those look good? Now, this is probably about 16 minutes in the oven at 375, and those are tasty. Put them on a tray, serve them to your friends. They're going to love them. Better yet, put them in a bowl. Some vanilla ice cream on top, some chocolate. This would be a great treat. We're going to go ahead and put these out in the studio audience, and then we're going to make some salsa. I'll be right back. If you want to start telling them about the importance of washing some of that vegetables.
We're all the vegetables off. For our recipe, we got about 5 pounds of tomatoes. It doesn't matter what kind you get because we're just going to blend them up, chop them up anyway. That's being turned into salsa. You're also going to want to get some cilantro, and I like about 3 peppers. It can be any color. I like the yellow, the orange, the green, red. It doesn't matter. We also have some jalapenos, and we kind of like it a little hot, so we got 4 jalapenos, and we also have 4 real big habaneros. And we also like having 1 just big white onion. And then where I like to get started is with the tomatoes and just taking the stems off. And for that I like using a little paring knife or steak knife, whatever you have available to you. And John, I'll take your help with this too.
Sure, absolutely.
And I just go around the top and just cut the stems out.
Now, all these vegetables were washed before we started, and that's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, you want to make sure they're clean because they grow in the dirt. They come out of the garden, and they sit on in the store. And when you bring them home, you just want to make sure you give them a good rinse because you're going to be eating it and putting it in your body.
We should also mention that we've used store-bought, farmer's market, grown right here at the Firehouse, grown at someone's home and brought in. We've used all sorts of vegetables, and the fresher they are, the better tasting this salsa really gets out to be.
Yeah, I think so. I know these habaneros, I think one of our guys grew, and they look really good, and they're huge.
They are very big habaneros. So this is going to be a hot batch, but I'm excited for it. This is going to be great. Now, does this salsa have a name?
No. That's all.
Yeah. Because I've heard it referred to as Woogie's Wonderful World of Salsa or something like that.
Yeah, it's a family recipe. It's called Woogie's Old Fashioned.
Now, really, salsa, as it is just really whatever you decide to blend up.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a variation of this, and I know that we have several firefighters on the department that make different variations of the salsa. From family secret recipes to recipes that they're willing to share with you. And we'll certainly put up our recipe on the cityofbatavia.net website under the fire department for you to go ahead and look at. But really, it's all about taste and matching your tastes to the salsa and, what you're looking for as far in a particular flavoring. And really, it comes down to the heat.
Yeah. Heat has a lot to do with it.
On our shift, we like things to be a little bit warmer than some of the others. So, we go a little bit heavier on these peppers. But they really make a nice bouquet of flavor when they're all blended up, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's also good for if you got a stuffy nose, it'll clear up your sinuses.
Which, as of late, it's been really kind of a hard thing to do with the fall and the pollen counts and stuff. So this will be timely and delicious. Now, Irv, if there's any sort of imperfections on these vegetables, is that something we have to deal with?
Yeah, that's something you'd want to cut those out as you come across them.
And you know, as far as just getting the stems off, we just want, basically, we don't want big holes like you did here. We want just nice little ones like this. This one that I did here, right?
Yeah. That's the thought and the method I try to use every time.
All right, excellent, excellent. I'm going to go ahead and get this bowl out of our way if we don't need that. We okay with that?
Yeah, that's done.
Now, one of the luxuries we have at the fire station is we have people in the background that can go ahead and help us with dishes and stuff. But for you, it's important to go ahead and maintain a clean working area and a safe working area, and that means moving stuff out of the way when it's done so you don't have those hazards laying around. What's next?
Next, we can start chopping the tomatoes, and we'll go with the green peppers. We'll hold off on the habaneros. We're going to save those for last because we're going to put gloves on.
Why are we putting gloves on?
You don't want to cut a habanero with your bare hands and then end up touching your face. It can get in your eye, and it stings.
And what do we do if you do accidentally do that?
I'll tell you what I did when I did it. You want to get in the shower and just rinse it with water.
So just deluge with water and
yeah,
and be that way. All right. When we're talking chopping up these peppers, you know what? I got some cookies I'm going to pull out real quick. Are we talking about doing leaving seeds in or out, or does that matter? Oh, these are looking great.
Yeah, for the habaneros and the jalapenos, if you leave the seeds in, it'll make it a little hotter. Some people like that, some don't. It's really just, you know, again, your own personal preference. So, I'm good with either way, whatever you want to do today.
Okay. So, just for the sake of it, we're going to go ahead and just cut the stems off, just like we did the tomatoes. Do you like to go down the middle, or do you like circles, or do you have any particular?
I like to go down the middle, especially if we're going to take the seeds out. It makes it just a little easier to get all those seeds out.
Okay, and what would you like done today? Would you like the seeds out?
We'll leave that up to our studio audience. What do you guys think?
1025 Marion.
All right, well,
seeds, no seeds? We'll take the seeds out.
Seeds out.
All right, sounds good. So we'll just go ahead and basically what I've done is I've gone down the spine of the little jalapeno
yes,
here, and I'm going to get these on out. Every once in a while you might get one stuck, and I'm just going to dice these up a little bit. Now these are going into a food processor to blend up, so
yeah, it really doesn't matter. You don't have to cut them too small just because of that. They're going to get cut up a lot smaller. So
now I noticed we have a very colorful salsa.
Yeah.
Does that have anything to do with the flavor or presentation, or what's the methodology behind the different colors?
I know for the peppers, it has to do a lot with the flavor. Some will be a little bit more bitter. I'm not exactly sure which is which.
Now they do have charts though.
They do. And most of the time at your grocery store, they'll probably have a sign by the peppers explaining a little bit about them. And when in doubt, just ask anyone who's there. The way for getting the seeds out of these peppers, you can just run them under water. And that's what I'll do here in a minute. I'm just going to finish chopping up all the peppers.
Now we talked earlier about how big those fireman cookies get. Look at the size of that beauty. And that's just one ice cream scoop. So again, not too many on the cookie sheet at a time. 4 or 5 at the most. I mean, that's like a pancake size.
And when it comes to the cilantro, I just like to cut the stems off. And I know you don't, they give you a whole bunch, you don't have to use it all. I think both myself and John have done that before, and it comes out very lemony.
Yes, and it's it gives it kind of a brownish color to the salsa, which while still tasty, is a little bit unappealing to the eye, and you may be questioned on your quality of salsa if you add too much. Now, if you're a cilantro lover, on the other hand, by all means use as much as you want. But if you want something that looks, nice and vegetable-y and red, ease up on the cilantro a little bit.
Yeah, I'd probably go with the whole bunch that they give you, maybe a quarter to a half. Well, I'd go under a half.
Now we have several guys like in other firefighters that make salsa, and it's kind of a little bit of a competition over flavor, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, a little bit. It's like chili in that respect.
But at the same time, we also have almost like an apprenticeship of making salsa.
Yeah.
And how did you come to become an aficionado at salsa making?
The guy I learned from is the guy that was my first partner on the ambulance when I started working here.
See, so as long as training and stuff, he also passed on his salsa knowledge to you, and now you've got, this great treat when you're working over here on the East Side Station. So, what else can I do? What else we got that to get this?
If you want, you can take these to the sink and give them a rinse to get the seeds out.
I can wash.
And then from there, I'm going to move on to the habaneros.
All right. Well, you go ahead and do that.
Yeah. I have to dry my hands so I can put my gloves on.
Is any particular temperature I got to wash these at?
Just cool.
So nice cool. Keep that crispness in on these vegetables.
When you put your gloves on, you want to make sure it's good dry.
Kind of like a vacuum.
Yeah, a little bit. That's what I'm fighting with now.
All right, so you're going to cut on those, and then we're on to salsa making, right?
Yeah, in fact, you could probably start blending those up if you wanted to.
Okay, does it matter what I put in, or just...
No, it's up to you. I like to mix up the peppers and the tomatoes both when I grind them up.
All right, well, let me get on to the grinding then.
Another thing you might want to consider is protection. But I'm going to go without today, and we'll see how I fare.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and just put some of these peppers right on into the food processor. Any sort of consistency we're looking for here?
Just pretty much whatever's appealing to you. I like them definitely more than just chopped, or else we could just do this all by hand. I like it blended down pretty good. It comes out pretty nice in the end.
One of the important things is knowing your equipment. So just give this a nice little blend there. What do you think? A little more, or is that about
a little bit more?
So we don't want to liquefy it.
No.
We want just nice, fine little chunks and stuff.
Just shy of being liquefied.
All right. So you find that short little bursts work the best.
Yeah.
And we'll get all these peppers on in here. Now, should I add anything else in, or these tomatoes, or they go?
Yeah, that's good. And you could add the tomatoes too.
Okay, so we'll just put a couple of tomatoes in here.
These jalapenos.
I'm sorry, you were saying about the jalapenos?
They got a few seeds on them, but I think they're good enough that they can go in too.
All right, well, I'll let you touch those.
Yeah, I am wearing the gloves. While you're doing that, I'm gonna go give these a rinse and get the seeds out of these.
All right. Ooh, this is smelling good already. Very fresh. Apparently, you should make sure you have the stopper in before you blend this up. Now, can I put this into some sort of staging bowl?
Yeah, what I normally do is you'll have to empty that a couple of times.
Okay.
And I would put it into that bowl with the colander.
Okay.
And what that's going to do is you're going to have a lot of extra liquid in there because since we're using fresh vegetables.
All right.
That'll help.
That'll help
that liquid out of there.
Very good. So just going to pour this on into the colander. Maybe just take the lid off, huh?
And when you're working with the habaneros, you'll want to not stand directly over them. I don't know if you heard me, but it's some coughing there. That's because they offend all your senses.
Yeah.
All right, how's that looking?
That looks great.
Why don't you give them a little look-see?
Yeah, it looks good. It's straining well too.
All right.
We'll just keep on going right through this. We can do the cilantro and the tomatoes and the habaneros.
What about that onion?
Oh yeah, the onion has to go too.
Would you like me to chop that onion up for you? All right, let me get on that onion.
All right.
Any particular technique to the onion other than don't cry?
Yeah, just try not to cry, and I would quarter it just enough so it breaks down so it fits in the processor.
And you know, do you like to take off the top layer there? You know, because onions are kind of like ogres. They have layers.
Yeah, that's very true.
Now, out of the family of tomatoes that we're using,
yeah,
I noticed that there was some differentiation in sizing. Is there any significance to that? Are there mama tomatoes, daddy tomatoes, or baby tomatoes?
Yes, I believe there's all three.
All three. Because that kind of reminds me of a story I once heard about a mama tomato, a daddy tomato, and a baby tomato who were walking down the street. And every time they went another block, the baby tomato would fall behind.
Yeah.
And finally, daddy tomato went back to the baby tomato to see what was going on, and he smashed him.
Oh, that's not good.
Yelled at him and said, ketchup. Anyway, there's your onions.
Sorry, I just caught a whip of the habanero there.
This salsa is looking fantastic.
Yeah, it looks and smells great.
Well, how about we do this? We're going to go to a commercial real quick, and when we come back, we're going to be eating salsa.
Did you buy the flashlight and the batteries?
Yes.
Did you make sure we're not missing anything in the first aid kit?
Yup.
Did you go through the plan with the kids again?
Yes. The more you prepare today, the more you'll be able to reduce the devastating effects of a tornado, an earthquake, a power outage, or any other disaster. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Visit ready.gov.
All right, so we're looking good, Irv. We've strained the water, the excess. It's in our bowl. What else we got to do to finish this on up here?
Well, now we just have to add the rest of it to the mixing bowl. And then from here, you just add salt, pepper, and sugar. I pretty much do it just to flavor. And this is the best part. Because we also get chips and we get to eat it.
Yeah.
And see how hot it is and if we need to add anything else.
It's looking pretty good. So folks, like I said, cityofbatavia.net, we're going to put the Aluminum Chef Irv Rodder's salsa recipe up there for you to go ahead and take a look at. Try out those Firehouse cookies, our biscuits and gravy, and hope that you've enjoyed first look at Inside BFD and Inside the Firehouse cooking. And with that, Irv, thank you for spending some time in the kitchen with us.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Thanks for watching.